Here we are at question 23 of Prep Test 158, section 2, the first logical reasoning section. And as always, we've got a highlight tool selected, and we're going to read the question stem first, which reads, the journalist's reasoning most closely conforms to which one of the following principles? So this is almost kind of a parallel reasoning type structure. We're being asked to just find which of the answer choices largely matches the information in the paragraph, but that answer choice is going to be kind of a generic principle and abstract concept, whereas the journalist statements are more likely a specific scenario. So we're going to read the journalist statements, still seeking to highlight this journalist conclusion when we find it. So the journalist states, drivers of sport utility vehicles correctly tend to believe that occupants of such vehicles carry lower risk of serious injury as a result of accidents, and such drivers therefore tend to drive less carefully than they would in more traditional vehicles. Thus, the discovery of powerful cures for certain high incidence forms of cancer would probably trigger an increase in behaviors such as smoking and overexposure to some that are known to increase the risks of such cancer. So we're going to highlight everything after the thus, and we might mentally even predict a little bit of saying, well, if we find a way to mitigate the risks, I'm inclined, at least according to this journalist, to be a little bit more risky. So if we have that mental prediction, we can now go to the answer choices, keeping our highlight tool selected so we can identify and mark reasons to eliminate as we go, or perhaps that one of these answer choices matches what we expected. So starting with choice A, when people believe that there are several measures they could take to reduce the risk associated with a certain activity, generally they will take only the measure that they believe will most reduce that risk. Well, there's not actually several measures listed for each of these. We've got powerful cures, sure, but the powerful cures are just one measure. And there's nothing about taking the cure that most reduced the risk. It's just saying that because the measures exist, they're inclined to be more risky than they would have been otherwise. So for those reasons, we can eliminate choice A, hopefully almost immediately. Next, choice B, the development of ways to protect people from the consequences of behaviors that would normally harm them often makes people less careful to avoid such behaviors. Ding, ding, ding. That is exactly what we hopefully predicted. And when you've got that prediction, you now have license to go a little bit more quickly through the remaining answer choices. So we'll scroll on down, and really more so for the purposes of this video than when you were actually taking the exam. We're going to go through answer choices C, D, and E and find reasons to eliminate. So choice C, people generally take special care to avoid behaviors that they believe would lead to serious injury. Well, I mean, cancer's serious, but serious injury is not matching cancer, so we can eliminate choice C. Again, I can be a little bit looser now that I know B is the right answer. And then choice D, people generally exercise more care when performing activities they know to have risky consequences than when performing activities of unknown risk. All of these tend to, at least from my perspective, seem to be rather known risks. Smoking causes cancer, at least in modern times. Sun exposure causes cancer, again, at least in modern times. So this idea of unknown risk is a reason to eliminate choice D, hopefully almost immediately. And then choice E, avoiding serious harm to themselves is given a high priority by people in their behavior, but avoiding lesser harms, well, we're not distinguishing again between lesser and serious harm. So that would be the reason to eliminate E, knowing that we probably could have selected the correct answer B a little while ago.